What's up, CBS Sports HQ YouTube fans? I'm Erik Kuselias, and I'll be breaking down the AFC West division today with futures, picks, props, and more. Here we go. Yeah, Kansas City Chiefs. I'm Erik Kuselias. All right, KC's got to deal with one thing. Curse of the Super Bowl loser. Think of it this way. In the last 50 years, only one Super Bowl loser has gone back to win the title the next year. In the last 25 years, only one Super Bowl loser has gone back to play in the Super Bowl, and it's the same team, and it was New England one time. So usually you lose the Super Bowl, you have a bad year the next year. Kansas City, though, getting a lot of respect at 12.5. I don't want any part of it. I don't want any part of it. 13 seems about right, but if they went 12-5, I wouldn't be shocked. And that curse of the Super Bowl loser always makes me nervous. Somehow, some way, it just sort of happens. And make no mistake, they lost the Super Bowl last year because their offensive line was putrid and terrible. It was subs playing for subs. And that's why Patrick Mahomes last year, 56 dropbacks, 31 pressures in the Super Bowl. They got to fix the offensive line. And if they do, they'll be fine. Now, you look at Patrick Mahomes, I might want to play him for the MVP, plus 500. Kansas City win the Super Bowl, plus 500. Same odds. So interesting. Do you think it's a better chance that Mahomes win the MVP or Kansas City wins the Super Bowl? Our people say it's exactly the same. I'm going to play against Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The injury projections say he's going to miss more than 3 games. Plus, he's terrible in short yardage. Scored only rushing touchdowns in 3 games last year, and his total of 7.5 rushing touchdowns seems a little high. We'll play him under on that prop, not to get to 8 rushing touchdowns. In fact, fantasy-wise, I actually want his backup, Darrell Williams, when nobody's looking, because I think he could get hurt, and we know Andy Reid will ride a guy off the bench and did that with a Williams in the playoffs where we had 3 straight games and went to the Super Bowl that he was big. So get him late as a nice little vulture pick. I'll take Mahomes over 38.5 touchdowns because, hey, I believe in Mahomes. Simple as that. And oh, by the way, last point here, if you're in a 6-point touchdown league, I know most of them are 4 when you look at the rankings, but if you're in a 6-point touchdown league, that guy's the first pick in the draft. Yeah, over any running back. He could throw 50, and if he does, you can't catch up. In Mahomes, I trust. Good luck, Chiefs. Go break the curse. We shall see. Yeah, Vegas. Oh, silver and black. Raiders are there, but will they be any good? Last year, This year, let's take a look and see how they're projected by our friends at Caesar Sportsbook. They're at 7. I'm going to go under. I don't think they have an 8 and 9 in them. They're going to go 8 and 9 to beat me. I think 6, 5 wins more likely when you look at this. I mean, who's the worst team in this division? It's not Kansas City. It's probably not Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Probably not Denver. So I'm going to say it might be Vegas here. Now, when you look at the schedule, it's not easy, especially when you start on the road, Ravens, Steelers, and then home against the Dolphins and at the Chargers. You better not go 0-4 or the bottom is going to drop out quickly. I'll play the under. In terms of a prop, I love Darren Waller. Love Darren Waller. 1,050.5 yards seems very, very low to me. His touchdowns at 7.5 seem low. John Gruden throws the ball to his number 1 target more than any coach in the history of the NFL. This is their guy. He's going to get a bajillion targets. Now, I don't know exactly how many, just trust me, that means a lot. He's the only player in the NFL that had half his team's receptions inside the 10. So not only they target him all over the field and at the goal line. Over, and then more over. So I like Waller on the prop. In terms of fantasy, look, I'm a little worried about anybody else. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to take Darren Waller. You know that. It's not a fantasy tip. But maybe let's go with Kenyon Drake late. He showed last year he can score a lot of touchdowns in Arizona, and they gave him money, 2 years, $11 million. They gave him basically starter money as a running back. Josh Jacobs is good, but he could be injury prone. It's now a time split, and Kenyon Drake you can draft very late. So get him late and as a nice vulture pick to see. This team had 20 rushing touchdowns last year. So if he ends up with a job, that would be a nice free running back that you didn't have to pay a lot for. Oh, by the way, you want a little shocking stat? Over the last 2 years, which quarterback in the NFL has the highest completion percentage? That's right, Mr. Carr in Vegas. So maybe it's going to be short passes to the running back. That's why Kenyon Drake could be a good sleeper. Yeah, Denver Broncos. I'm Erik Kuselias. All right. Who's the first team ever to miss the playoffs 5 straight years after winning the Super Bowl? Well, there's a reason I'm asking, because obviously you know it's the Denver Broncos. And last year, 5-11, not good. But this year, expected to have a big uptick. They're at 8.5. That means 3 or 4 game improvement. Why? Not expected to be a league worst -16 in turnover ratio last year because Teddy Bridgewater is the guy and he takes care of the football. But I can't sign for a 4 or 5 game improvement, so I'm going to pass on the 8-5 or maybe lean a little to the under. Now, not many individual props for this team, but there are fantasy implications. I'll play the long game with Javonte Williams. This team traded up for the rookie running back and took him 35th overall. I think second half of the year, he's going to help you out. Also, the receivers, I think they're all going too early. None of them are going to be on my team. Not that I think they're bad players. I just think they're a little overvalued. Too many mouths to feed, and this is not an offense that they're going to throw 35 touchdown passes. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick. You want to add in Noah Fant? How about Melvin Gordon, the running backs? I mean, look, too many guys have to get fed, and when you have a mediocre quarterback and too many mouths on a team that isn't a great passing team, let somebody else take them. Little shocking stat here, by the way. Tim Patrick, he was the only player who had 50 or more catches and no drops. Meanwhile, Jerry Jeudy had 6 in one game. So who knows here? I think they're all a little overvalued, even if Jeudy is a good player, for example. But I will take their defense. This is going to be my fantasy defense. Von Miller's back, and they are going to sack the quarterback. And look at that schedule. Look how they start. You want to start Giants, Jags, Jets? And how about as we push for the playoffs and into the playoffs? Lions, Bengals. Those are bad offensive lines that are going to give up sacks. Von Miller's going to eat in those games, the big games, getting off to a good start and finishing strong. Denver should be your defense because you can wait, you can grab them, and you can thank me later. Yeah, Powder Blue Bolts. I'm Erik Kuselias. That's right, the Chargers. It's a new look. 38-year-old head coach, babyface quarterback, youth is king in L.A. Not the first time that's sort of been the theme. Now, the Chargers last year, 7-9 with a bunch of heartbreaking losses because, let's be honest, that's what the Chargers have done to you lately if you're a fan of the Powder Blues. I think that this year's 9 is a little ambitious. I worry about a sophomore slump quarterback. I don't know how good they are in the trenches. And again, a 38-year-old head coach scares me a little bit. Now, the quarterback is good. So you say, why, Eric? Sophomore slump? Well, the last 14 rookie quarterbacks who have made an impact, 12 of the 14 decline the next year. It's an off season that's a little different for you when you're living that life. Sometimes it takes them that sophomore slump to figure it out. Now, as for props, Keenan Allen, he's always been my guy. Keenan Allen may be on more fantasy teams that I've played on or own than any other player ever. I love him. You know why? He's always underrated. And this year with the prop being 10.50.5, we're going to take that over. He's always over. Now, last year he only had 992, but he essentially missed 3 games. And he only had 37 yards in the game that Justin Herbert didn't start. So when he and Herbert play, his per game pace is way over 10.50. This seems like free money. We're going to do that. Now, in terms of fantasy, Austin Eckler is so overrated and going too early. I know in a PPR, sure, he's going to catch some passes. If it's a half PPR, you don't want him. No PPR, forget it. And you look at him, he's injury prone and he doesn't score. Guys who get injured and don't score are not my kind of guys. Last 16 games he's been on the field, how about 2 rushing touchdowns? That can't play for me, man. It's just not good enough. We have him ranked ahead of Nick Chubb. I'll take Nick Chubb. I'll give you Austin Eckler. We'll bet anything you want. Anything you want, fantasy-wise. Anything you want. Now, I just don't see the Chargers making the playoffs, but I think brighter days are ahead. They're just 1 year away. This time next year, I may be buying the Powder Blues.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.